Man. If we didn't have on so much confusion going on in the world, I would be saying, man, it's time to have a party. Well, hello once again, my brothers and our beloved sisters. Jay Rogers here, Mike Side. We are black men declare. We come here tonight to just share something from a black male perspective on so many subject matters that's going on around this entire world. Who would have truly believed it, even with Project 2025, that in less than 3 months, less than 100 days, we would have so much going on places all over this world? We knew that Babylon had fallen. We knew that this place was in trouble. But I don't think I would have ever thought, my brothers, that we would be having NATO and all of the European allies really responding to some of the things that's happened here in America with such vigor, making commitments to match the defense budget of the United States of America, coming together for the first time since the Second World War. Who would have believed it? That now it may appear that America is going to be on an island all by its lonesome. It's going to be interesting to see what will take place. But at the end of the day, we're at a point in time where we are going to see things happen like never before. The decisions that will be made will be like never before. And so it's a time for real reflection. Now, there was a brother wrote a book. We mentioned it earlier today. Charles M. Blow wrote a book that's called The Devil You Know, where he talks about migrations back to the South in these parts of America, where even today we still have the heaviest population on a percentage basis and numerically of Black folks in America. And so, brothers, I guess, we know a lot about the reason behind the great migration north back in the day, those two great moves that took place. But we're not hearing, at least not yet, a whole lot of conversation taking place about the migration back south. I know some of us have made that migration back south, and some of us are giving it consideration. I guess, brothers, for the sake of getting us going tonight, what do you guys think about the concept of moving back to the South from the North? What do you think about it? The pros and the cons. Does it make sense for us now to relocate? You have the urban areas. We know gentrification is taking place, but at the end of the day, there are some that believe many of those urban areas, it's going to be just a pocket here and a pocket there. But to rejuvenate an entire city is going to be a different thing. I don't think it's a right or wrong answer, but I would like to hear your comments on what are your thoughts about reconnecting, even truly, for lack of a better term, segregating ourselves. I know that kind of goes against Nearly Fuller's philosophy, which was wherever they move, you move right behind them or right close to them. But are we looking at a migration back to the South? Is that the best thing that Black folks can do for themselves in this new dispensation? What do you think, Dr. Till? What's on your heart?
Well, greetings to you, Dr. Rogers, and greetings to our sisters and brothers of Black Men Declare. I would say that probably once was a ideal situation, and I know that my parents, my father, before he transitioned, he wanted to move back to North Carolina, where he was from. But I believe that in today's age, the South is not versatile. or diverse enough. When you look at people who are in their 20s or their 30s and their 40s and even early 50s, they have decided the South isn't the place to be. But where the place to be is in Belize, in Panama, and other countries. They have decided why limit ourselves to the racism that you have in the South when you can go to another country and be beloved, and be treated well. We know that a lot of those countries might be even Spanish speaking countries, but enough people have decided, hey, maybe this will be good for me to learn a second language. So I would tell you, a lot of my friends have decided the South isn't the place to be, but the place to be is to go overseas. As always, blessings to you all.
Peace, family. Good to be on with my brothers, my colleagues in this fight for truth, freedom, justice, and equality. My brother William Tell, you had me for a minute because I wasn't sure where you was going. And I was like, hold on, what is he talking about? Then you switched it to overseas, and I couldn't agree with you more. I still think that America owes us. They owe us, and I think it's only right that we try to make them pay somehow. I don't know the strategy. Think that's above my pay grade at this point. But they owe us. So if they owe us, I think, and I remember the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in his economic blueprint mentioned that there are the several southern states that are perfect for black folks because that's where we shed the most blood, most tears, and gave the most effort to help build this land. So I think they owe us at least 2 or 3 states. And we can't say that it can't be done because they're doing it every day for Israel to make sure that Israel is well taken care of. Now, saying that, I'm 100% behind what you said, William Tell. Looking at other places besides America, to diversify ourselves. Looking over in Africa, looking over in South America and Panama and those countries like that. We have to be at this point in time. We have to be open to a lot of different things because we don't know what's going to happen in this great and dreadful day. But we know that it is a great and dreadful day. It's going to be great for some and dreadful for others. And then I think the tables are turned. We don't know, but we have to have some type of idea of the plight of the black man and woman in the hills of North America.
Well, good evening, my brothers, my brothers. Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois here in the studio. Man, I tell you, that's a great question. And I'm gonna say it like this. Our ancestors died blood, sweat, and tears, in this land. And I agree with you. They owed us. They owed us reparation. So our minds have to be open. It's gonna take a lot of planning, a lot of resources if we're going to stay in this country. Now, they're migrating into cities like Houston, Atlanta, um, even some parts of Florida. But are those the places to go? So we have to be wide open on reselling somewhere. So I think, as for me, Dr. Taylor, I would say down south would be, for me, the answer because there are land to be uh, uh, access to because you have a lot of generations down there still owning land. So I would say to get all of the professionals, it's gonna take. It might not be. We might not see it, but we have to have the blueprint, the plan for our children to settle because this country is getting worse because white supremacy is still alive. So I would say, for me, it's wide open, different countries, but to settle in this country because they owed us. And I don't think, our ancestors looking at, hey, wait a minute, we died, doing working on the plantation. So we have to get what's ours. we're going to take it back. I say that in love.
But Dr. Rogers, let me ask this question before you, and I hate to cut you off, but don't you, would you, and maybe somebody else can answer too, do you think that we are limiting ourselves? Because when you look at, let's be transparent, our Caucasian cousins, they have a home here in this country and a home in another country where they'll go and live in France for 6 months. They'll come back and live in America for 6 months, or they might go to another country where it's warmer, and during the wintertime here, they'll go elsewhere. Do you think that we are just limiting ourselves and our thoughts? Why can't we go and have a house here and have dual citizenship? For me, that's where I am kind of heading to. And I don't want to limit myself to just one area. If I can live here in America during the summer months and live somewhere in the Caribbean or somewhere in South America during the wintertime, isn't that the best of both worlds?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we should be giving all of that consideration. We should limit our thought processes at this time. But I tell you what, we better hurry up because 47 trying to shut down those options. He's trying to shut those options down. That you're going to either be a citizen of the United States of America or you won't be a citizen. So he's right now allegedly looking at ways to shut that down. So I will share with you. I know for my queen and I, we are planning a trip in another 4 to 6 weeks to go check out a couple of places for that very reason. And you have to be ready to make some decisions now, because as Dr. Du Bois said, some of the changes that we make can conceptualize, we may not see them, but we may have to lay the foundation, just like Project 2025. That foundation began over 45, 50 years ago. We may be thinking about something that may be hopefully 5 months, 5 years, but not 50 down the road. But you need to evaluate your options because different countries require different kinds of situations. Oftentimes today, you just can't arbitrarily say, I'm going to go and move to another country. Every country has some type of requirements that you got to deal with in order for you to get there. And it could be, as some brothers have already articulated, that the continent of Africa may offer some of the more liberal, if you want to use that word, of flexible requirements to allow you to achieve a citizenship, dual citizenship. And there are other Caribbean, some of those nations as well, because there's a lot of Black talent in the United States of America, some of which can indeed be utilized by some of these African nations, more than 54 nations. And I'm sure one could fit your fancy, but it does again require some investigation and research. So yes, my brother, by all means, become a citizen of the world. Don't limit your analysis and your research to just here. I do believe Dr. Du Bois got a point. I mean, there's a lot of land down in the South. Where we from, it's a whole lot of land down there and relatively inexpensive. And I could envision having a place in the South and a place on the continent of Africa and perhaps even a place somewhere else. But the key for me, as I have conversation now with my children, I'm asking them, hey, don't limit your perspective to the United States of America. Think globally. Think globally. And so I know most of us would probably agree, but right now, you don't need to be thinking about 5 years to start studying it. You need to already have identified at least a few places that you would consider living, and you need to do it pretty quick. I know we're looking at sometime on or before next August to make a move some kind of way, somewhere migrate further south, or finding a place outside of the boundaries of the United States of America. What about you? Let me ask Denmark that question. I know he's been doing a little research on areas outside of America. What are your thoughts on that, brother? Denmark.
I think I'm sorry. For me, I've a couple of countries thinking about. We have some. I have some. Can you hear me?
It's better now. Yes.
Oh, okay. I have some challenges as far as family members that may not be prepared for that. So, but I'm open to my wife going ahead and I'm moving and me going back and forth. I would like to say this, and this is follow me here. This is where I think that if the Christians and the Muslims, black Christians, black Muslims was a team together, this is where we can learn from each other. Now, me growing up in the church, I didn't see much of this, and I'm sure there are a few out there, but when I became Muslim, I seen it more. I mean, in abundance, like Muslims journeying overseas to stay and staying 20, 30, 40 years, creating businesses, creating opportunities. When I went to Africa this past year, there was abundance of Muslims from America, black Muslims that's from America that were there to help out if needed. And I didn't see it as much in the church, but I'm like I said, I know it's people there, black Christians that may have done it, but I don't think it's as abundant as the Muslims. So I think this is where we can learn from each other to create those opportunities, because these especially in Africa. I don't know much about South America, even though I've been there. I don't know how welcoming they are, but these African countries are looking for Black Americans to come to create opportunities. Because we've been trained in America. Let's not put that on the back burner. We've been trained under this system. We have ideas and more ideas than maybe they have at this moment that can open them up to bring new opportunities and stuff like that. So I think that we need to, those so-called leaders that's in Black America, they need to get together and start. This is what they should be doing. This is the frustration. I'm like, we spending all this time worrying, and we have spent a lot of time worrying about Democrats, Republicans, blah, blah, blah. Why are we not having other opportunities like, hey, let's get some of these young kids and send them to this country, send them to that country, and we get our big organizations to sponsor some of this. Like, why is this not happening? I remember when a minister went to Cuba and got all of those scholarships for Black children, no matter if they were Muslim or Christian, and for them to become doctors. And we saw a great deal of doctors in the past 10, 15 years come back from Cuba that were Black, Black kids. Like, we have to think outside the box, man. We limit ourselves too much. So, but this is a discussion that we must have.
Quick question. Do they have dual citizenships? Those that went over there 20, 30 years ago? Did they go ahead and they got
dual citizenship. I've seen them in Kenya. I've seen them in Ghana. I've seen some in Nigeria, in South Africa, and there's one other one that I'm forgetting about offhand. Used to be the Sudan. It used to be Sudan that I know that the Imams community was heavily populated in the Sudan at one point. I'm not sure how strong they are now in the Sudan, but I think Sudan was the other country.
Yeah, the only reason I ask is that you want people to know that you want to do it right. You want to do it correct, right? And get it done, y'all. We want to get it done as soon as possible. Now, I do know that Dr. Tell, the thought process you mentioned about going over there, and I know that you work in a sector of the economy where it's projected there will be some changes taking place. So, should any of these changes take place and manifest themselves where you be given an opportunity to perhaps retire early or transition out or whatever, I mean, in your heart of hearts, I mean, what would you really rather do based on your knowledge around the globe? Would you mentioned earlier about moving out of the countries, and I agree with Denmark. That's an awesome thought process. I mean, have you given thought to areas you like to move to or give consideration to? And if so, why?
To be totally honest, I have not. I've considered different locations,
Mm-hmm.
and some of these locations are South America and Africa. But the main reasons are because I was so caught up in the rat race that I never got a chance to visit these places.
Mm-hmm.
And now that there is a move of early retirement,
Well, I
this
hear
would
you.
be.
You're not married, are you, Doctor
No, I'm
Tell?
not married. I don't.
I
I'm
mean,
not married. I don't have any children. My
all
mother,
right,
my family are still here, so it would just be me, myself, and I.
okay.
Um, so that would grant me the opportunity to kind of move around freely, and a lot more freely than if I was married or had a family. So
Mm-hmm.
because of that, um, I definitely want to visit these places. I want to go and I want to see. And before I make, like you said, I know that the current administration wants to cut off the fact of having dual citizenship. But if I go and visit for 3 months or 6 months, I can do that, uh, and then in a year or two, make a final decision on where I'm going to stay.
Hmm. Well, you know, one thing comes to mind for Doctor Du Bois. I know his great grandfather got so disgusted with America that he moved to Africa. I don't know how much your family has looked into that, Doctor Du Bois. But what are your thoughts on such a following up in footsteps? You mentioned the South. You said you would just not give any consideration to another place, or you're open to it, or you pretty much committed that you would migrate, but it'll be back to the South. And why?
Again, I would say the South. You have to look at also. You have to look at the land, the fertile land, fertilization. Uh, some parts of Africa. Not putting Africa off. The land is not suitable. As of agriculture, and some are, but some are not. So I would say looking at the land down in, as for example, Mississippi is very fertile, for growing, because to have a society of we talking about separating, and you got the land, you got fertile land, and you can have your agriculture. So that plays a very important part. So that's one of the reasons I said the question was moving back to the south
Mm-hmm.
because of the fertilization of the land, and again uh, the land part, owning the land, and that's why. And I'm gonna make another point here. Also in Africa, some countries in Africa, not all, they're still having that ethnic conflict. And for us as African Americans to go over there, it's not, us being not accepted because you got that clash that's still going on. Example, you got the Tutsis and you got the Hutus. You got other parts of Africa also, even in Nigeria, that ethnic conflict over there. So we have to look at that also. Do they like African Americans? So that's one reason I said that the South is more suitable to me than other countries. But I'm wide open for as dual citizenship, but have to do more study on it. They say Ghana is a place that is welcoming to African Americans. Say that in love.
Well, hey, Dr. Du Bois, you know what Terry Crews said? Terry Crews said he was more afraid of the gangs in Flint, Michigan when he was going to school than the white folks in Flint, Michigan. He said he was more concerned with his neighbors than with the folks that wasn't in the neighborhood. He was like said, I sure was looking behind when I was going to school because I knew what the gang members was gonna be looking for me more so than the white folks. But I just share that moment of just laughter or whatever. But, one thing that's been promising, brothers, is that in conversation with some of the young people, some of the young people are really thinking out of the box. I heard some young brothers sharing just today about this same subject matter. And basically, some of them have given a lot. And matter of fact, they are saying that this particular 2025, Project 2025, is what's caused them to truly, deeply think about the situation. And so it's like anything. Sometimes you need to have something as agitation initially before you do something about it. Have you ever stuck a nail in your foot? Got a splinter in your hand. You don't even think about it, whatever. Then they start messing with you, start irritating. Then you got to look in there and you got to get that thing out. Once you start looking at it, oh my goodness, I need to do my nails. Oh my goodness, I need to do this. You start looking further and deeper, and you begin to find out there are other changes you can make. So open comments from the brothers shortly. Do you think this current situation has now opened up the minds of our young people to say, hey, we need to now use the creative ability that we have been given, that is a part of who we are? I believe so, but what do you brothers think?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. I would say it's not even so much a political climate, but I think it's more has to do with AI and our computer. When you think about the fact that even we can just take a subject such as hip hop. When you look at hip hop music, it is so wild. I mean, so versatile that now you have Australians dancing in the Olympics doing hip hop, and Denmark and other countries. So I think they don't see the United States as a limited place, but they are more open and acceptable to the entire world.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't. That's why I wasn't. No matter how much how bad I feel about Trump and his administration, and I do believe this is probably one of the most evil administrations. They got to be, if they're not number one, they got to be a close second or third in administration. But I'm not. I wasn't opposed to Trump and his administration coming to terms, and here's the reason: because of exactly what you just said. I believe that Black folks have been asleep for the past 60 to 70 years. We have been too comfortable thinking that the American dream was built for us. And this administration, along with the Project 2025 committee, is showing us that white folks did not mean for black folks to get ahead in America. We did it. We overcame a lot. They put some rules in for a few years, but that we knew ever since those rules were put in, there was a population of the American system that was up in arms. They just didn't know how to go about putting pressure on the administrations to shift that pendulum back towards segregation, back towards Jim Crow. They didn't know because there was a rising tide, so to say, where you had the hippies, you had white women that were coming into things, so everybody felt like, oh, okay, this is a new thing, we're going to do it. But ever since then, white men specifically was working day and night to try to swing that back towards what they originally intended for the black man here in America. And so this administration, if this is what it takes for black people to wake up to the knowledge of self, wake up to the knowledge of the time and what must be done, I'm all here for it. I'm all here. Yeah, it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful. You're going to have job loss. You're going to have a lot of frustration or whatever. But as long as we thinking outside of the box and we are thinking about ways to move this needle for black people and not just sitting around begging for some benevolent white person to help us out, I'm all for it. So here we go. We in the batter's box. Let's see what's going to happen.
So, do you have any thoughts on that, Dr. Du Bois? Is this a good thing? Is it something that I know so many people see as bad, but I can see with some benefits in this situation?
Yeah, got us out of that comfort zone, and that's what it is. Even when Kamala Harris lost the election, that should have been a wake up call for us. And I'm looking at it now. I said the true colors of America. Used to hear that old term, "Go west, young man." That wasn't meant for black folks. That wasn't meant for black American dream. That wasn't meant for black folks. So I say this is a wake up call. That we haven't. My brother already explained. We've been asleep. We've been asleep for these past, what is that, Civil Rights Acts of 1965? I saw it. We grew up in it, me and my brother Jesse down south. So, we wasn't at the time sleep. We was on the battlefield. Look at Medgar Evers on the battlefield. He died. And they taking his name off of the road, at the, what is that? The cemetery, Arlington Cemetery, Pentagon. That just show you, man, if we haven't woke up, what they say, the woke movement, man, I'm telling you, we've been asleep. So it's time to get on the battlefield. We have to. Say that in love.
That was one of those great old songs that they used to sing back in the day. I'm on the battlefield for the Lord. Now, you just said something that Brother Malcolm Nance, I know many of us have listened to that brother before, mentioned the other day about how 47 in its revisionist movement, and I hope we all understand that's what's taking place as well, is that there's this effort now to revisit the documentation of American history. And we must now, more than ever, be willing to, at least I believe so, invest in our own libraries and make sure we gather the research we can to have it as a reward and as an heirloom, knowledge as heirlooms. At least this is what I'm thinking, to our children, children's children, at least 3 generations forward. What do you brothers think in that regard? What kind of strategies or thoughts or ideas do you have about making sure you do something to retain the information of the people, the ancestors, yourself. You start with yourself, because I can see if people with just these devices and a level of non-commitment, a generation or two from now, people won't know nothing about it. Look at what we are discovering today. I know right here in Atlanta about what's underneath Lake Lanier. And seems like every 2 or 3 weeks now, there's another story that emerges about some small black town where the townspeople were all murdered, hung, and killed. And so now this is what everybody's saying. Oh, we don't want to hear about that. Again, that's a revisionist philosophy. What do we need to do, brothers, to combat this reality that's taking place right before our eyes?
Yeah, I would definitely say the first thing is that we need to establish our own history. We need to go back and pull our own history, our own family history. So, and then incorporate that into American history to say that my father, my grandfather, my great grandfather came from this area, came from this land, came from this region of the country, and then talk about where we've come from and where we want to go. I think I would tell you that personally, my family is planning a family reunion, and we are putting together our family tree and some of our history, and we are making copy. We are making copies of this book that we're going to put together so that other multiple people in the family will have it, so that just won't it won't be just one person responsibility to carry on, but multiple people in the family will have this information to carry on. And while I'm long gone, this booklet should still be circulating through our family.
Yeah, I think it's time now, because again, man, white folks, man, they plan. They plan, and oft times we are too late when it really happens. So for the past 25 years, they've been planning. And what was their plan? Push everything to the cloud, stream your music, stream your videos, buy less books, download the books, or pay through a subscription. So if they decide to cut that subscription off, all the books that you have downloaded, they're gone. And what have we done? You see less books in our library, physical books. You see less movies in our physical library. This is a plan. This is all a plan. And we don't understand the depths of Satan and how Satan operates. We're busy consuming whatever he throws down our throat, and we never take the time to say, okay, if I do download this book, what happens when they decide to cut it off and I really need that resource to prove something? I don't have a physical library anymore. So we've been trapped. We've been in this trap. We've fallen into this trap. All go back to what I said earlier about us being asleep, because we were so asleep because we was able to get a nice house for ourselves. We work hard, we get a nice house, get the nice cars, live in a great neighborhood, and we just assumed that this American dream was going to play out like it did in our dreams. Like it's going to be so sweet, so rosy. We're going to get along with white folks now. Everybody's going to get along, and we're just going to sing the American national anthem, and we all going to be proud Americans. Unfortunately, that is not what we are doing right now. Most black folks are in their feelings about what's happening in this country. So my suggestion is wake up, start ordering those books, start getting those movies that tell the truth about our history, put them up in vaults or what have you. Get you some physical hard drives, get you about 10 to 20 physical hard drives, make copies of everything that you got online so you'll have it in your presence. I know I have probably at least 100 hard drives around here with information that I never even go back to, but I at least got them. I got a little device that I could just slap the hard drive in, plug it in my USB, it pulls it right up. So we got to get active on this thing, knowing how Satan works, and we have to always, from this point forward, we should always be thinking anything that happens, what is Satan's ultimate aim in doing whatever it is that he's doing.
Brothers, there's nothing I can say. You done said it all. You done said it all. What they say, tell our history, sing it orally. It was passed down generation to generation from my ancestors. But my brother, you said it. Now I said I was going to do it, but I haven't done it. Getting that zip drive that to download my father's conversation that we had before he went home to be with the Lord, and I have to do that. So I'm telling all the people, young people, old people, to just listen to what you just said, my brother. Get that drive, keep it in the same place. Download those pictures, tell our history, sing it. We can sing it in our establishment, churches, the mosque. You can sing. That's a history telling portion also. So I agree with what all you brothers said.
Dr. Du Bois, one of the things that you just said was really interesting. I just thought about it, and I do remember before my grandmother just transitioned last year, the year before I started recording her. She didn't like it, but I wanted to record her because out of my 4 grandparents, she was the last one that was alive. And though I know my grandparents, I can't really remember their voice that well. But I have now a video and audio recording of her, and now I'm able to pass that on to my nieces and my nephews so that they'll be able to one day hear their great grandmother and how she laughed and what was her voice, and not just see pictures, but to actually hear her. And I think that that's one of the best things that we can do. And we have these devices on our phones, and then we can easily upload them to a cloud, but also to our own, as Dr. VC said, to upload them to our personal drives, so that can now become the new archive. Even if we don't have a book, we can be able to pass a flash drive on to somebody else and say, this was your great grandparents, or this was your great grandmother, and check this out.
Hey, let me say to Brother Rogers, one thing, and this is gonna maybe sound controversial or may ruffle somebody's feather or whatnot. It's time for Black America's own Bible, own Quran. What do I mean by that? We have had some great people come amongst us since the time we have sojourned in America. And we'll be a fool to think that God will save people 1,400 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years ago, that didn't go through near as much as our ancestors have. If you sit down and think about some of the great people, you mentioned Medgar Evers. You don't think that he has a surah or a chapter? You don't think Martin Luther King has a chapter? You don't think the Honorable Elijah Muhammad have a chapter? You don't think Malcolm have a chapter? You don't think Sojourner Truth have a chapter? You don't think Harriet Tubman have a chapter? Look at the people that we read about in the ancient time. You don't think that our ancestors have chapters? So if somebody was to sit down and publish those chapters of how God moved amongst black folks in America, you don't think that we're deserving of that? That's the ultimate memorization right there, to have this book that showed how God moved amongst your ancestors when dealing with Satan in real form. You don't think that we deserve that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you brothers hear me talk all the time, I talk about your chapter in your book of life. That's what I'm talking about. Is that you need to have written, and then you can bring them together, just like we just recently went through with a bunch of brothers, their autobiographies. That can be refined and improved and expanded. But that's exactly what you're speaking of, because these were mere men and women, and they tell their stories of God's deliverance. And I can tell you unequivocally, I know that God has delivered me from some stuff, and I can tell some stuff about how He delivered me. So you right on the money. You right up my alley. That's exactly where I'm coming from. I mean, I got I got a lot of things in the hopper that you brothers going to help me get done, but I'm with you 100, 100, 100 that all of these brothers should be read about. Like I say, we pivot 3 generations out, we look 3 generations back, there's 7 generations, but we should be having impact on our grandchildren based on what we're putting in place today. And we more than ever, I used to think erroneously that if I just beat my father, that I was going to be okay. All I got to do is beat him. Well, no, I got to do more than that, because that wasn't a difficult hurdle. So, to be quite honest, because he was very one-dimensional. So I gotta put it way. We all have to put it way beyond that, because most, not all, most black men, it wouldn't take a lot to say, well, I did more than my father did, but that ain't enough. You should want to do more than whoever, by writing and taking time to put together those chapters in your book of life. And then if you can combine it with some other folks, now you got, like you say, we may not use that particular word, but it's the same thing. When you read about Abraham, you read about Abraham, his encounters with God. You read about David, his encounters with God. And then you read about some folks you may have question marks about, that's in the word, to say, what was Saul thinking about? What were the people thinking about, man? You right on with that one, brothers. But brothers, we got to always come up with something a little lighter now. We've been dealing with these some heavy subject matters that we're talking about, and I know we're all committed to them. But let me ask you a couple of things a little bit lightened up, because we always want to end on something light. Don't want to go to bed with too much heavy on your mind. I understand there was a trade recently in the NBA where a young man from Miami went to Golden State. And since then, I've heard some comments about the president and general manager there, who I'm talking about. Who went to Kentucky, lost to, West Texas team way back in the day, Pat Riley, and also had the opportunity to be with some great players in his NBA career, blah, blah, blah. But for whatever reason, there's a brother got tired of playing for Miami, whatever. But now he's moved on to Golden State. My question is, and you brothers know what I'm talking about. My question is, can our brother, Mr. Butler, move to Golden State and be that, what do you want to call it? That inertia, that final piece that can at least push them into the playoffs and maybe allow them to have some form of run? Or are they overstating what the capabilities are going to be with him joining Golden State? What are you experts in the thinking about that. Is that possible? I haven't been following really close, but I've been hearing that, my goodness, since he's been there, the winning percentage has been pretty impressive.
The little information that I know about Mr. Butler is the fact that so many people or have tried to say that he is a problem and a distraction. And for me, I see that as a code word as an individual and someone who is independent thinking. So what they label him as difficult to deal with, I see him as an independent thinker and someone who wants to win. So, but I did hear when I heard about the trade, I was it was very interesting to see who were at the top of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's funny because I heard today somebody mentioned that Pat Riley, even though they said they put a stat up like 24% of the NBA finals in history, Pat Riley has been associated with it in some form or fashion as so that statistic is thing, but they say that the sad part is that he's gonna be remembered for LeBron James leaving, all because he messed with his chocolate chip cookies. That's something. Saying he done coached the great Magic Johnson, he done coached, or was the GM with Dwayne Wade and Shaq and LeBron, but to be remembered that he caused LeBron to leave and hasn't regained that prominence since because of a chocolate chip cookie or messing with his chocolate chip cookies. That's a crime shame. But evidently, Jimmy Butler ran into the same issues and challenges with Pat Riley and just got tired of it. I think that he can be a great asset to Golden State. They're currently, I think, in sixth place. And but man, I gotta say, when LeBron get back healthy, him and Luka Doncic, man, I don't. And I'm a
That's a
Celtics.
load.
You talking about a Celtics fan, and I heard, I believe that it was Paul Pierce recently, who's a great Boston Celtics, said if LeBron get to the NBA Finals and win it with Doncic, and he beat the Celtics while doing it, which is the returning champions. He said, "There's no question LeBron James will go down as the greatest player to play the game." So I'm quite interested to see how this thing turn out as an avid Celtics fan.
All right. Don't get jealous over there, Dr. Tim. What you got, Dr. Du Bois?
Well, the question is Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley. I agree with you. Pat Riley was an outstanding coach, and Jimmy Butler, he's an outstanding player. But when you get those alpha males together, they're going to be a clash of heads. So jumping on Jimmy Butler, his record with the Golden State Warriors is 15-2 when he plays in the game. And I watched the game last week. They were playing the Knicks. Jimmy Butler scored 11 points, but Draymond Green came on during the post game. He said, even if he scored 11 points, we're still in the game because he's there being a team player. He's a team that spoke volume. I'm listening to this, and I say, Draymond, you own it. He say he makes other players play better. He's opened it up for Stephon Curry. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, yeah, man, I didn't see it the other way. But again, he's a great player. Pat Riley is go down as a great coach. But it's that, that alpha male mentality, they clash in the heads.
It's like,
so
he want to tell the brothers what to do, man. He want to tell the grown men what to do.
Yeah, so I would say him and what's his name? Alonzo Mourning. So I want to know what part he played. And talking to Jimmy Butler, what part he played on the sideline. Coach, but he's the assistant to Riley. I don't know his position, but he's up there. And Haslam, Adonis Haslam is in there somewhere too. So
his bodyguards, man. There's bodyguards.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that behind the line, they're talking to Butler, say, "Man, get on out of here." So
that's my point.
They're pushing them, to leave. So I'm looking at this because Haslam, he's an outspoken brother. So I want to know what was behind the scene. But again, Jimmy Butler, when he's healthy, he's one of the all-time, leaders and a great basketball player.
Man. And he's got great size, man. I didn't remember what kind of size that dude. It's a big dude, man. So he's a great compliment. And I think he's still got a lot of game. And it's going to make Golden State, very difficult. I hate to see that they lose Wiggins. They traded Wiggins. I hate to hear about that because that was a great young player, man. And Riley, man, I always remember that Kentucky thing with him, Pat Riley down there in Kentucky with, what was the dude's name? Joe, whatever that coach was, the legendary coach from Kentucky. But, he's been around. It's like,
I think his name was Haskins or something like that.
Yes, Haskins. And think about it. They said Red Auerbach or Phil Jackson, all these guys. Man, you playing with all Hall of Famers? Doggone, man. I remember when the league wasn't that many teams, man. I remember 12 teams or something, 8 teams or whatever on the 4, 5, 6 on each side of the leagues. Like they say, man, about every team, everybody was playing was about a Hall of Famer. Everybody had a superstar too, man. It wasn't like today it's got it so diluted, but as far as true superstars. But I would have to say, brothers, that for what I'm hearing, Mr. Butler definitely doing something that's 15-2, like Dr. Du Bois just said. That's pretty impressive at this time of the year. So last question, brothers, because I know it's going to be coming up next week going full swing. You could take your pick, the men or the women. Who's going to be the cutting down the nets for the men and or the women, come that first weekend in April. Come on, Dr. Tell, you ain't got no thoughts on that? Denmark, I know he got some.
I haven't really. I have to be honest. I haven't been really following the NCAA tournament, but as a old Big East fan, I'm going for anybody in the Big East.
Well, you won't be winning nothing then. Okay. I don't even know if UConn didn't win the conference. I don't think. So, okay, Denmark, what do you think? Who's your men or women?
I'm going with the women's side, of course, because I watch more women basketball.
I bet you I know who he's going to say. I bet
you already know it. You already know it. South Carolina, baby. We're going. Dawn going to win her. I think this will be her 4th, I believe. She's going to win it. It's going to be a battle, though. I was trying to pull up the bracket to see who she was actually faced from that other. Well, actually, in the Final Four and then the championship, I was trying to see how I was going to break out. But it may be a. Go ahead.
No, she did not like the fact that she was not number 1 overall seed.
Right.
She didn't like that. No.
She's probably going to face, I think, on the other side, maybe USC. I can't remember what side of the bracket they fell on. USC or maybe UCLA, somebody like that. It's gonna be a tough one, but Don's gonna have those girls ready, man. If they get into that Sweet 16, Sweet 16 or Elite 8, you can cancel it. It's going to South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
You got to upset them early.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yep, you got to
Yeah.
knock them out early. You got to knock them out early. That's how you gonna get them. Because everybody else is the first time for many of them. What about you, Doctor
Well,
Boy?
well, I'm gonna go for the underdogs on the men's side. They was picking on North Carolina. Why is North Carolina in there?
You
You
ain't
know,
lying. What they in there,
yeah,
man?
that's a good question. So I'm gonna go for the underdog. I'm gonna go with North Carolina.
Ooh.
Just because they have something to prove, and also they played in the ACC, and even though Duke beat them, but it was a tough, tested match
Mm.
between them and Duke, and I think they're gonna be tested.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I said that they have something. They
Oh.
hungry. They hungry. So when you have a team that they say you don't belong here, why you got in? you
Mm.
know. So that give them something to prove, and I'm gonna go with USC Juju. I want to see Juju, and
Mm-hmm.
they was like so much. They was like complain. Well, I ain't gonna say complaining. They was saying, why is Connecticut in our bracket?
Yeah.
Why is Connecticut in our bracket?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be, if they get by
Mm-hmm.
that.
They
That's the reason
trying
why I
to get,
say,
yeah.
yeah. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
say I want to. If they get by that USC, I like South Carolina, but
Mm-hmm.
USC, if they
So
get by,
y'all not
yeah,
know just UCLA no love, huh? UCLA ain't
well,
you just
yeah, they did beat USC, but
yeah.
I'm gonna go with USC because of that. I like to play on Juju, so we'll
I
see.
got you. I got you. UConn beat South Carolina, but I thought you were going to say UNC, man, because of Hubert Davis when he came in there and said to his
I was
crowd,
gonna say it, just I left it alone.
"That's my white wife for it."
I didn't say it. I was gonna say
What kind of fool say some stuff like that?
it.
You know, he must have been dreaming about that when he was playing basketball in North Carolina. I can't wait to the day when I come back and say this is my white wife. I can't believe a brother would say
I
that
couldn't believe that,
at a
did
press conference, man. But I guess they like him, I guess. But anyway, it should be fun. This is the fun time of the year, man, and it is a fun time, and I like this time of the year because you see some great basketball, man, at all levels. D3, D2, NAIA, D1, don't matter what level it's on, man. This is a great time to watch
Yes, it
basketball. If you
is.
like basketball, this is the time of the year to watch it. The college level, just, because they playing their heart out, man. You know, win or go home. But anyway, brothers, it's been a great night, man. Enjoyed it. Share with you brothers. And I don't know, we'll go offline for a minute and have a little short conversation. Dr. DeBoy, something that Dr. Taylor may want to bring you up to speed on that he shared with me and Denmark before you came on. So, any of you brothers got 30 seconds. You want to close us out with anything? Take 30 seconds, then we maybe let you get up to speed on what's happening with William Tell.
Yeah, just looking forward to see what's going to happen. And if we're going to use this pivot from those who are in charge to now having us American people do something different. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to see what will happen and what has already happened.
Okay.
I too am preparing. I think preparation is the key that I'm using. Preparation for whatever. And when I say whatever, I literally mean whatever because we don't know. Again, one of my favorite quotes is, "You can't understand the depths of Satan and what they
Mm-hmm.
have up their sleeve and what they're going to try to do." So we have to be prepared. You never know how the needle is going to shake or how the wind is going to blow with these serpents that are in high places right now.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's amazing.
I want to continue for us, our children, grandchildren, even our great grandkids in our future to keep telling our history. I have just sent a video of my father that I have to archive, put it on the drive, telling his story, which I didn't know. So we have to continue to tell our history.
You know, Dr. Boyd, it made me think I was chatting with my oldest son last week, and he mentioned something about my mother. And I said, man, I can handle that right quick. And being able to just go in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, send him in not only an audio, but a song, because I've got audios and songs and all of that. And from years back even. And he was like, wow, he was like, like, man, you got this? Yeah, I got this, bro. And so I'm telling everybody, man, if you have an opportunity, record your parents, your grandparents. Shoot, man. I mean, I really got to get a hold of my sister, Matt, because she's not doing well right now. And I've got to get something recorded from her, because I know, unfortunately, those sons that she has, they're not going to do it. And I'm going to have to find a way to get it done. But brothers, it's been a pleasure being on with you all tonight. A lot of great conversation. And we'll come back in the afterglow in a moment. We go offline. That's a special treat for our paid subscribers. And you can come in the afterglow. We end this session and speak to the brothers and ask whatever questions you may have on your mind. Until then, this is J.A. Rogers, Mike Side. Tell you to come on back and join Black Men Declare. When we come together, we share from a Black perspective, sometimes different than what you hear about on the main and mass media networks. Till next time, peace, love.